Welcome, welcome, welcome. Having a little bit of some internet issues today, but hopefully everything will get back. Biz Saturdays is what I've been calling it because, Meta and all the things that have been affecting us lately. But we are live here on Facebook. We are live on LinkedIn. We are live on Instagram. So if you have any kind of questions today is the day, please feel free to comment and put your question. DM me with your question regarding business and whatnot for your adult brand. So this week or this month has been all about knowing your worth. And if you have been on my email list, you've probably seen a bunch of hints throughout knowing your worth. Understanding about negotiating and how to negotiate in order for you to get the most bang for your buck. You know what I mean? As entrepreneurs, we haven't been taught how to negotiate. So it's super, super amazing skill. And there's some really, really great negotiation. But of course, I always have working in this industry and thinking about negotiation. So a lot of times I am constantly negotiating what people can offer and what I can offer in exchange, right? The relationship always has to be mutually beneficial. But before we get in, I do want to let you all know, please make sure you get your free social media cheat sheet. You can go to QR5 Solutions. You want to ensure or get shadow banned or deleted or suppressed or anything. So please make sure you do that today. And also, if you have a question and you want to submit it anonymously that you're like, I don't really necessarily, please feel free to submit your questions at qrco.de/successama. And I will be happy to answer those questions anonymously. Month is all about knowing your worth. But before we dig a little bit deeper into that, I would love, excited. We have someone who wants to talk about their business. So yay. So super, super brave. I am super excited to mix Lena Queen. So hi,
hello.
How are you doing?
Hi. Wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. So quickly tell the people about what you do, who you are. Just give them the spiel. Who are you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Lena Queen. I go by Queen. And so I am a clinical somatic sexologist and embodied wellness coach. I define myself as somebody who's queer, tender, and so involved in our sexual liberation and sexual healing. And so I am not only just an outpatient practice, but I am launching my erotic life coaching program, which is what I'm on here to talk about today. And so I offer people professional development training for sexuality and somatics, in addition to supporting folks who are navigating their sexual healing journey.
Nice. I love that. Okay. So Queen, tell us, so what's on in your business? Why did you decide to come on today?
One, I like your expertise, right? Like, the moral story. So your expertise, I've seen, you grow. I've seen, just how you've navigated social media with such expertise and like offer those nuggets of wisdom to others. And I was like, I can be on the hot seat. Like I could be here offering up like myself and what I'm doing. And I think a lot of times there's a lot of clinical folks who want to do the non-clinical, like we want to expand our ability and our reach. And I was like, this would be a perfect opportunity to have that conversation and to really talk about how I'm moving in that direction. Hey, cutie patootie.
Malachi decided.
Mango.
Get him some snacks. Yeah, I'm like, okay. I apologize.
And you know what? I think this is the part also too, when we're talking about like decolonizing and coming up in a space, right? That we honor the multiple roles that we have. And so, I appreciate that. My adult daughter just gave birth 2 days ago to her second child. And so I definitely understand when I think COVID has allowed us to kind of reclaim our relationship to both family and how we are in our leadership. And so it's just great.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's, it's amazing and lovely and a struggle, right? Like there's so many different things, especially like being in our industry and how, people, kind of navigate this complicated landscape. So
Yes.
So tell me what's going on in your business. I know you're launching a program. So tell us about the program that you're launching.
Absolutely. So I have a social media brand, Sister Sexologist, and I'm now launching an erotic life coaching program. And it's been in development for several years because I've been trying to navigate both accessibility and also just constantly being shadow banned. Right. And so part of what's been so frustrating is when I think I catch a rhythm, right? The algorithm is like, take it down, or it's blocked, or we're not going to show it to new folks. And it limits my reach.
Right.
And so, I came on today to talk about the coaching program. And so the coaching program, I decided to do it at membership tier via Patreon for accessibility. And so the higher the membership tier, the more intense the erotic and sexual healing work. And so Healing the Erotic Self was inspired by Audre Lorde's uses of the erotic as intentions of how do we navigate both our sexual self and our spiritual self. So bringing sacred sexuality into healing. And then when you think about navigating sexual shame and sexual distress, for Black folks particularly, right, really reclaiming that relationship. And so Healing the Erotic Self is designed in six courses in order to be able to help folks not only understand who they are through their erotic experience, because we know who we are, right, most of the times. It is the how do we embody safety and self-trust in that relationship and how that shows our loverships. And so Healing the Erotic Self is designed to help people navigate that internal dialogue and also create a system of self-care. And so what you're going to walk away with is just not knowing who you are, but also knowing what erotic healing practices are aligned with who you are and how to create and personalize that for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. So when thinking about your social media, you said you were kind of you were being shadow banned. They weren't showing it to new followers. And did you know why?
First I thought it was the name. So I do have an Instagram for Healing the Erotic Self, but it's attached to my social media brand of Sister Sexologist. And so the name itself, like sexologist, right? Definitely am not going to get folks unless you're looking for me. And so that's one. And sometimes Instagram, even with the word erotic, right? It's a hit or
Yeah,
miss.
erotic is
And so when I
definitely
have
a no-no word. So erotic is
see, and
definitely a
so
no-no word. So you can't say that one. That one is that will get you shadow banned, suppressed every time. So sensuality
yeah,
is also one that will also get you suppressed. Um, so there's lots of these little, not little words, but lots of these words that we use in our everyday, language that are
yeah,
going to get you suppressed or shadow banned. Yeah. So yeah, that's why my guide, I'm like, oh, people, you got to get my social media cheat sheet because it's like, hey, these words are some words that are not going to be helpful for you as you move along in your journey if you say these words, right? Now, what
that's
you could
that's
do,
right.
right, is when you write erotic, is when you like replace the O with the zero. Um, that could be something, or misspell the word in any way. That's a really great tactic in order for the AI
Mm,
filters. Because what it is the AI are the AI scans it, right? And if they
right.
suspect something, then automatically they are going to flag it. And until you appeal it, if it's something that you think you can appeal, then then you might be okay. Because this last time I remember they had flagged something and I was like, what are you talking about? And I peeled it and everything was fine. So when
Okay.
you appeal it, of course, then that means it goes through humans, who then have to check it off, right? So, but
Right.
the AI is constantly scanning your page for new content, for scanning your bio, scanning everything to that can negatively affect you for sure.
And I really thought I was safe with using the word erotic. I moved to, I started misspelling, the word sexual. I
Right.
think about sexual healing and sexual liberation, but I really thought I was safe with the word erotic. And then all of a sudden it was just, well, not, it stopped. And when I noticed the growth on my, the coaching page, the erotic self page, I was like, oh, okay, where do I go from here? Because I'm thinking about, like, I often see a lot of, I would say, similar sacred sexuality coaching programs that are using some of the language. I see the ads on Facebook. They are normally white,
Mm-hmm.
white led programs. So, I'm wondering oftentimes, like, what's the magic formula where, at least where I can start. Um, and so I'm definitely going to get the cheat sheet. I didn't even realize you had the cheat sheet, but I will be getting the cheat sheet. Um, review all of the things. When you think about,
And sometimes those
I guess
ads are brief.
creating a new. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, sometimes those ads are brief, right? So the sometimes because it's going through the sort of internet bureaucracy of like, here, pay the money, and then the ad will go up because it's automatic. Sometimes it doesn't catch it in time until the AI
Mhm.
catches it, and then the ad will be pulled. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you've seen the ads multiple times,
Yeah.
or because sometimes people can get away with it very briefly when they submit an ad.
Okay. Yeah, I would say this summer I definitely have seen there's to them tracking that I'm like, all right, they've been going for a little while this summer, gaining some traction. And so, and again, with the language, I know they don't use erotic, but I think sensual is definitely used. Um, Sacredness, like maybe sacred sensuality or something along that line,
And that
is
might
actually
be,
used.
yeah. And sometimes sensuality is one of those words that sometimes it might be okay now, because sometimes it wasn't. Intimacy at one point wasn't a word that you could use, but now you can. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's best to kind of check weekly to ensure that, like, the words aren't going to be suppressed or shadow banned, because they do
Okay.
change. And sometimes they catch on, right?
Do
For
you
instance, sometimes they catch on, for instance, like when you put the $sign for S, right? In SEX, and then you put the $sign, then you
Mhm.
put EX, they've caught on to that. So now they're flagging that. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to be
Right.
really tactical in what you do.
What about other ways outside of Instagram and Facebook? I find that, there's such a monopoly when it comes to like where can folks who do this work actually, engage audiences. What would be some of, your insight or suggestions as far as engaging audiences outside of Instagram and Facebook?
Yeah, I would say your best bet is to to teach like mini teasers of your workshop, maybe doing a master class or something like that, but also getting an email list. Do you have an email list?
That I do. Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
an email list is a
Um,
perfect way to nurture your audience. You know what I mean? So making sure you are constantly recruiting people to your email list so you can continue to nurture them.
okay. And that would make sense to use Facebook and Instagram that way of like, and I can say, and my apologies, folks, I know I haven't been nurturing that email list like I should. Um, it's like all the things when you're a one person team. But I will definitely make sure moving forward, I put more attention into that. And I would say the same guidelines also too would probably exist when you think of like AI delivering emails. So using the same
Yes.
type of with the codings
Yes.
when it comes to
Those-
email lists.
yes, because the filters are really aggressive in email. Absolutely.
Okay. Yep. Like I went back and forth, I nurtured Sister Sexologist as a brand, as a I mean, it's my persona, right? Sister with an A, right? My blackness informs all of who I am. And like
Right.
sexologist, the work in the field that I'm in and that I love to do. And so, it felt like at the time, well, and it is, it's still the right thing to do, right? And but also to fighting the algorithm that says you have to be something else in order to be in this space, which is a constant thing for folks who are sexuality professionals. Like we're always moving against a way that tells us not to be authentic. And so I want to make sure that the marketing and the reach out is authentic, because I don't want people to be like, this is not what I signed up for, you know,
Mm.
um,
Mhm.
you, right? Being so bland in the description and things of that nature. But I like what you suggested about doing a mini class or course, or
Yeah,
a
you
master
need to
class.
create a funnel. You need to think about your client journey, right? So what is your what is your how are you nurturing these clients? Now in our industry, you have to understand they need to see you for at least a year in order for them to start purchasing probably things from you, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
haven't nurtured that email list, if they haven't had touches with you consistently, then they will then they just don't know, right? So you have to build up the rapport with your audience.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely say on the Instagram, I've definitely nurtured that space, because that space is a familiar, safe space for myself as well. So I know with Sister Sexologist, that space has been nurtured. The article on Them Magazine has kind of boosted my visibility as well. And so I've put consistent effort in nurturing that relationship. And so I'll work intentionally in nurturing the email relationship. Um, yeah, I gotta get into a room. Sometimes the neuro spiciness, the ADHD comes up, but I'll work out my systems.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, being an entrepreneur is perfect for people who have ADHD, right? Because there's so many different aspects that we can lean into, that we can cater to for our business. So nurturing your list is one of them. The social media aspect is another. How to thinking about your funnel and funneling people, creating, your lead magnet. What are the ways that you're bringing people in? you know so um
Okay.
yeah.
What about developing a team? When you think about developing a team, because I know that would be, delegating would be a really great part. What would be your suggestion for someone starting out to develop a team? There's so many things I've
It depends
I've
on
seen of what to do.
yeah,
But what would
do you
your suggestion?
do you have so it really kind of depends on your amount of income as an entrepreneur, or if you have supplemental income coming from a regular, like, full-time job, like you're working for someone else. So if you're working for someone else and you're already kind of have that stability, that financial stability, then I say hiring out can be helpful. And that's, whether that you're hiring out for I was having someone help me with my PR and social media. I was having someone help me with integrating, like, things like my blogs and things. So I had, like, these different little projects that I would have people do that would help me in my business, right? So it could be something like, create a carousel template, or create, Canva does all these things nowadays. But like, really sort of like project-based help, I think, is helpful. Now, when you get to like 85K or six figures, like 100K, that's when you need to start hiring out, because then you can't, the admin tasks are going to be too much, right? So, like, right now I have someone who basically kind of filters things for me. So I have a list of, if someone wants to do a podcast, this is what you do. This is where you send them. If someone wants to book me for something, this is what you do. If someone wants to do this, so giving someone direction and sort of giving those administrative tasks to someone else is helpful. But again, I think like being at a certain income level in your business can help you navigate that. Having someone help you with your social media. Again, some of this stuff can be project based, but also just having someone consistently is just going to help them know your business, how you move, and build a relationship from there. So yeah, but I believe, like, thinking about the different projects. So for instance, if you already, you have your program, you have your classes, if you already have those courses done and you haven't maybe uploaded them yet, or you haven't, whatever the case may be, maybe there's something that they could do to help you along with those things. Right. Right. Now I have someone like
No, I
who,
appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say right now, like, I
I'm
have
sorry, go
someone
ahead.
who, yeah, right, like, sorry, there's a little bit of a delay, it seems like. But there's someone that I have my assistant who helps me find media, outlets to reach out to and whatnot, to pitch to, and what, what I mean? Um, if I get on a podcast, right, making sure they update my web pages, like things like that, are admin tasks that you don't necessarily need to be doing when you reach a certain level.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate that. I know this has been helpful. I think I definitely can't wait to get your cheat sheet to kind of do an inventory of my website and the Patreon and things of that nature. And and I think also too, you recommended weekly checking in because the algorithm changes so much. And I think that's one of the things of like not always knowing what should be the frequency, right? Daily could seem like too much, or like, um, and monthly not enough. And so the weekly
Yeah,
part is,
I check every Saturday. Every Saturday, I check all my social media accounts to make sure they're in good standing. If something's not in good standing or iffy or whatever, I might archive it, just so my page can continue to be healthy. But every Saturday is when I kind of, because then, we have, the SDS conference, so it's kind
mm-hmm,
of like for our marketing people, I have to be like, hey, this something's not right on our social media, we need to fix this thing or whatever. So there's a constant, you have to monitor it constantly, or else, you're just not going to be seen by the people and you're not going to be able to grow.
absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Um, anything you would, are there any like big do not do's for folks who are moving and expanding their sexual professional business? Is there any like, don't do this?
I don't know if there's the don't do this, but I think there is like, don't do this. That's a great question.
Because I know a lot of it's going to be like trial and error. You're going to figure that out. But yeah, when you think
Yeah, well,
about,
that's why I have my program, so you don't have to do that, right? So you don't have to figure that out.
yes,
Because I'm like, I've done the figuring out. Here is the pathway to do the thing, right? So yeah, yeah, because a lot of us have been working in silos, right? We're like, oh,
yep,
does this work? Does that work? Or,
yep,
and it's just like, we don't have to do that, and there's other people out here, Ann Hottership, I think, has a accelerator, business coaching program. I think Amina also has, her, business coaching. So there's people out here that can, help you navigate the way, as well as my program. So you don't have to necessarily work in a silo. And, there's lots of different groups. Like, I don't know, I'm sure you belong to the Women of Color Sexual Health Network, right? Wakshin.
yes, yep,
So it's
yep,
like,
absolutely.
belonging to those groups are like helpful for networking, for understanding, like, um, but like networking in groups and understanding, like, hey, this is what we need to do to, move forward, be successful and whatnot. So, um, but yeah, um,
Thank you.
yeah. I have to think about what are the things you should not do. That's a really great question. Um, I'll have to think about that one a little bit more. But
Not a
I'm always on the
problem.
optimist
I'm pretty sure I'm
side.
on your email list.
I'm always on the optimist side of
Yes,
like, who is the well, what are the things you can do to, so I'm like, the things you should not do. Yeah, that's a great one.
yeah, I
But
think it's,
do you have any other questions?
no, I don't. You answered it pretty phenomenally as I expected. It really it affirms and gives me clarity. And I think just really doing that social media inventory and looking more into your program is what I'm gonna do. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for coming on here and being vulnerable with your business and, letting us like dig a little deeper. I can't wait for you to like, get your nurturing in with your email list, right? Because you're like, I've been ignoring
Yes.
those people. And I learned that you can't ignore the people, especially if they're signing up for your list. That means they're interested in what you have to
Right.
say and whatnot. And if
Right.
they're not, then, they'll take themselves off the list. They'll unsubscribe, or, I usually do like a cold subscriber thing. Like because, it takes money when you grow your email list, right? So the more people you have on your email list, the more money you have to spend. And so with cold subscribers not being engaged, it's really helpful to kind of break up with them, liberate them from their email.
Yes.
And so I usually do that every 6 months. So like every June, every December, I kind of go and say like, hey, are you still interested? If not, then I take them off my list, because it means they aren't interested in what I have to say. And that's okay.
Yes.
Because you want the people who are interested in what you have to offer. You know what I mean?
Love it.
All right. So what's next for your program?
No, I appreciate that too. Just into just get into that rhythm also too, like every 6 months. So I think just like systems and flows, and then frequencies, and to engage in those systems, that will help me as well. I keep saying I'm just getting back, but I was in Dominican Republic for 18 months. I came back last October. And so I've literally since last October been moving into this direction of getting the program content and infrastructure together, so that way I can move through other things. And so thankfully I have told my email folks like, hey, I am taking a hiatus. And so this will be a really great time to actually come back and reintroduce, and like you said, give people an opportunity to engage or liberate.
Yes. Awesome. Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, please feel free to come back. Please feel free to ask me. And, again, you don't have to do this alone. You can feel free to, apply to my program, or submit your questions at any time. So thank you again, Queen.
Thank you. I will. Take care.
All right,
and I'll see you soon.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Bye. All right, y'all. That was really lovely. Thank you so much to Queen for joining us, and joining me and Malachi here, apparently. Malachi's show today. Glad to be here answering questions around business. So again, please get your free social media cheat sheet, y'all. qrco.de/5solutions, easy, downloadable PDF, and just to help you navigate that life. And if you're like, okay, this was great, but I need to dig a little deeper, make sure you sign up for my social media class. I give it once a month. September, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I will be doing SDS, so September is not going to be a thing. But October, I've already had a few people sign up for October. Know that I'm going to be back. It is a live class. It is not going to be recorded, because what we actually do is take a little bit of a deeper dive into your personal business and see how we can make sure to fix whatever social media problems that you might be having. So please make sure you check out that class and sign up. So again, if you want to put your comments, if you have questions, please put them in the comments, or please submit them anonymously to qrco.de/successama, and I'll be happy to answer those questions anonymously. Again, we talked all about negotiation. If you aren't on my email list, I give you some hints on how to do this. What are the steps needed, and making sure you are getting the numbers that you like when you are, negotiating your services. So with that said, It was been a pleasure. Thank you so much again for Queen for being vulnerable and letting us ask some questions about her business. And I think that's about it, y'all. Thank you all. It's been a great Biz Saturdays. Geez, Benice, this one. Oh, well, that shirt's nice though, huh? Strong like mama. But we will see you on the other side. Join me next Saturday, maybe next Saturday. We'll see. Make sure you're on my email list to get the latest details. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday, and we will talk soon.